Welcome to a very special podcast episode. We have three incredible interns today, Jayla, Dajeanai, and Jeremiah, who will be sharing their stories about what it means to work in this time and how to best return to work during this crisis.
I could have been a case one time as far as the issues that are taking place right now with the police, and my energy a little messed up right now. So I don't want to be up here right now. So I'll just leave it to you guys. It's basically the same run through that we done the last time to capture a little bit more, of the audio and the meat of everything. The relocation, the work-life balance. Jayla was hitting hard. Dajeanai touched on some great points as well from the different sites she's been at, from traveling from Alaska, only seeing people that look like herself in the offices. Jeremiah, you really brought it home and wrapped everything that those two spoke about. You brought it together full circle with yours. And you mentioned something that stood out as well with the outdoor retail partners with Vibram about the shoes and actually wearing them and being out in the water. So just hitting all those high level points, but it's just I didn't want to bring my energy to the podcast today, so I'd rather sacrifice and step away because I am mentally a little bit bothered by everything right now.
Yeah, it's tough, especially being here in Florida, and you're the only one, so you feel like nobody really understands. So
Yeah,
I get where you're coming from, man. I really do.
yeah, definitely. Being this close to being a victim of something like that
Mhm.
is is bothering me. So I'll leave it to you guys and have fun with it again. I know you guys are going to kill it. Just have fun with it. All right.
Sure thing. So today we just want to recap essentially what we discussed. The major thing that happened between us was we just wanted to really focus on what it truly means to be active during this time because I feel more and more stressed every day, and I think to hear what it means from you all is the most important thing, and that's really what we want to focus on today. But we can first start off just by saying like how you guys are doing and what positions you guys are working at.
Okay. I'll start. Hi, guys. It's good to see everybody again. My name is Jayla Wilson. I'm a resource assistant for the National Forest in Florida, and I'm located at the supervisor's office in Tallahassee. Right now, I'm currently working from home. I still go into the office about twice a week just to check the mail and make sure packages are um, processed and shipped out. And I basically, um, yeah, make sure everything is shipped out. I speak with law enforcement on anything that may be going on, like tickets in the National Forest in Florida that's been happening. We're currently working on um, reopening the Forest Service, so been dealing with a lot of that. Today's been a really gloomy day in Tallahassee. I don't know if Jeremiah, if you're experiencing too, but the weather has just been really not good. It's been raining all day since this weekend, so I can agree with Kennedy when he said that the energy is just off, the vibe is just off. But I try to push through it, try to remain positive and upbeat, and yeah. So that's where I'm at right now.
Thank you, Jayla.
You're welcome.
Well, my name is Dajeanai Pennamon, and I'm a special use intern on the San Bernardino National Forest in California. And everything is pretty much is I mean, it's crazy because I'm still in the house. So, and that's kind of like I didn't expect for it to go on as long as it's going. So, but I do go back and forth in the office. Whenever I need to go in and do some work, I go in, and I've just been here and keeping busy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, girl. Girl.
You're fine.
Yeah, my name is Jeremiah Edwards. I'm here at Everglades National Park in the Gulf Coast District. Um, and yeah, we quarantine has been kind of tough. I've been tired of kind of staying inside. So I've been trying to find other things to do within the area. One project that we're working on now is taking down different invasive trees. So we have the Brazilian pepper. I don't know if you all know anything about the Brazilian pepper, but it's a lot like poison ivy, but it's a huge tree, and it creates this dense forest that doesn't allow other um, plants to grow. So that's what I've been focusing on these past 3 or 4 days, just cutting down those trees and allowing allowing opportunity for different types of wildlife and plants to grow in that area. But it's very tough. And when I'm not doing that, I find stuff to do on the computer. But it's no big reason for me to go inside the visitor center other than to disinfect things. So that's really what I find myself doing. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing these past couple of days. And 60 days or so of quarantine.
Wow, has it been that many already? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's been a number of days. The only way that I'm able to keep up with it, I follow the Lego National Park or whatever. Legos have this deal with national parks, and so they say quarantine day so and so. So I follow that, and it's a little funny.
Got you. I had not realized it'd been that long. It's just been it's been like slow and fast at the same time. But thank you guys for being here again and talking with us again. We really appreciate it, especially because we definitely just had y'all talk. But y'all are such interesting, wonderful people that we wanted to get y'all back on. So thank y'all for doing the podcast part 2 this time. So Yara, how did you want to kick this one off? Did you want to like rehash it a little bit, or you want to jump into questions?
I want to jump into a couple of questions, specifically talking about challenges. I know there are challenges that we faced before COVID, and there are challenges that we're facing currently. I kind of want to have you guys speak to some of those challenges and how you guys are combating those and getting through them. And then from there, what challenges are you experiencing now that maybe some people from GYF or the National Park Service side or your federal land management agency could kind of assist you on to kind of stay more active and more involved during this time. And we want to be looking for solutions as well.
One thing I can say is that a lot of people deal with like depression and being within this quarantine, and a lot of people being stuck in the house and not really having anything or nothing to do. It really do take a toll on people, and it could be overwhelming. And having like coworkers just check check up on each other, and just having people and having people know, like reach out. And just because we're not in the office or we're not being able to be around each other, it would really help to know that we have somebody there that we can talk to, because like I said before, it's a lot. Like I'm one of the persons that don't do good being stuck in the house and being by myself and having a lot of time to think. So that's one of the challenges that I have been dealing with not being able to get out or go to the office, is staying in the house alone, not having nothing but work and my thoughts to keep me busy. So that's a lot, and I'm learning to fix it. And I've thought of some things. I started exercising and getting out and doing some runs around the neighborhood and stuff. So that's how I'm coping with things.
Well, Dajeanai she just hit it right on the mud. But she did, yeah. One of the things I would say that I've been struggling with, not so much depression, but I've like mostly like I've been anxious, like a lot of anxiety before the quarantine. As you know, I work full time with the Forest Service through Green and Youth, and I was also in school full time. So I went from go from work to class to study groups to, just out and about, working in the field, going to class and getting out the road, going straight in class in my field gear to being at home. And it's going from like having a full workload to not having anything. You just like, it kind of put me on edge, like making me feel like, oh my gosh, like really anxious and giving me anxiety. So that's one of the things that I've been struggling with. Like Dajeanai, I bought a home gym. I went to Walmart and they have this little home gym kit for like, I think it was like $30. I bought that. They have one of the local tracks that are open at my old high school, because I went to high school in Tallahassee. I'll go out there, wear my mask, and just run and just watch some home videos on exercise video on YouTube, or buy like a online gym membership. That's some of the things that I've been keeping busy. Also, another thing that I've been doing that may help is connecting with old friends. I noticed that during this quarantine, like everyone is having like Zoom meetings and Zoom catch-ups. I had like a Zoom brunch with some of my old friends from college. We're all like doing our own thing, and we don't. Some of them no longer live in Tallahassee, so I've been catching up with some of my friends doing Zoom, family members doing Zoom. So that's been keeping me busy, finding new habits to do, reading books. I'm a book nerd. I love reading books. So I went to Barnes and Noble one day and I found like new authors, that African American authors, and I've been reading books. So that's some of the things that's been helping me, and also some of the things that I've been that's been a little challenging, going from having like a full workload to really not much that I can do.
Yeah, both of y'all hit some points that really have affected me. I guess the thing about being here in Everglades City, Everglades City is not big at all. So it's probably, I tell people it's probably only 300 people in this town, give or take. And so it's very small. And with it being very small, there's not a lot of stuff to do here. The nearest Walmart is 32 minutes away, excuse me. So if you think about that, I don't have a movie theater, I don't have a park, not much, and I'm one of those people who like to stay busy. So before then, I was, jogging and stuff like that. But of course, that gets boring, doing the same thing over and over again, going out and jogging and taking new trails that end up becoming old trails and stuff. So I was already experiencing that boredom. I guess transitioning into quarantine, one thing I've started doing was learning how to play the guitar and really improving that skill. And then I've also started my own Bible study ministry that I do with my friends and family via conference call. We just study the Bible for about 30 minutes or so, which has been good to, getting that, improving your spiritual health and things of that nature. And just talking to people whenever I can. I would say one good thing, I guess you could say, that was more like hindsight is 2020. That worked in my favor. Is that like before all of that, I had bought myself a PlayStation, and so I was able to start playing that. And then come to find out, COVID. I'm like, oh, well, great. I can just play this one in my free time too. So in conjunction with trying to play the guitar and writing Bible study lessons and different things, I have a PlayStation that's able to distract me, as well as reading, like Jayla said. I've always enjoyed Toni Morrison, but I think I've fallen in love with her again. And so I'm reading a lot of her books now. Right now I'm reading Paradise, great book, recommended to everyone. It was so controversial at the time that jails were trying to stop the prisoners from reading it because they thought it was on the inside of riot. But so, that's really what I've been doing, and just trying to stay distracted and stay busy.
Yeah, sounds like y'all have Oh, sorry, yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's fantastic. No, I think it's super important to stay busy and productive in small ways, even if we can't recreate and do so many things outside. Just being able to do certain things within your own space, within the comfort of your own home is super important. But it's, like you said, important for us to not be so consumed by our mental health or our mental health states. Depression and anxiety are real right now. And I think for us to be able to be creative and expressive and also connect with our supervisors or connect with people who genuinely care about our state of being is truly what's most important.
Yeah. And I was just gonna say that it's been an odd experience because like you all were just talking about, the depression of having to be in the house really does sit in. Especially with like me being in Atlanta. So even like a lot of like the natural reserves in the area still have a lot of people going there because that's like the only get out the house activity now. And so it's always like, well, do I want to go? Because if there's still a lot of people there, then, you know, I might still be exposing myself. Um, and then something else I wanted to mention was like even just like remembering to get out the house to get sunlight. I know we've talked about that in our staff meetings, and even my mom has mentioned that to me a couple times. But it's just like, you know, sometimes some days when it's real dreary, like today is like you just don't feel like doing anything. But I think the secret blessing of it has been a lot more free time to do things like read and play games and connect with friends. And I know you guys mentioned that you started like Zoom calling with your people. And that's something that I've been doing with my friends as well. And it's been really a blessing in disguise. So, I mean, like you were saying, Jeremiah, it's been like 60 days. And I can't even imagine what it'd be like if we didn't have this technology to even talk to our people and be able to like see them face to face more so than just on the phone. Um, so yeah, it's definitely a bit of balancing the good with the bad. Um, but yeah, you guys hit on a lot of important points. And I did want to ask a follow-up question, which was so how has transitioning your work to home been? Has it been like a smooth transition where most of your duties could be carried out safely within the space of your house? Or has it been more so like things like, I know Jeremiah, you said you have to go a couple of days to help deal with some of the invasive species. And Jayla, I know you said you had to go like twice a week too. How has basically shifting your duties to home been for you guys?
Well, I'll say for me, I'm working in interpretation. My coworker, he explained it, expressed it the best. You know, let's say 70%, 75% of our work is dealing with the public, talking to people, you know, or whatever. And then at 25% is doing computer stuff, you know, writing programs and dealing with compliance and stuff. So it's been kind of difficult because you feel like, well, I'm just doing busy work when, you know, it's not, it's important, but it's, it's just, I could be doing, I feel like I could be doing something better with that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the good thing is with me working in the Everglades, is that, you know, and working in the Gulf Coast District specifically, is that we're really water based. So I can go out and kayak, and that's part of research and really going out and exploring the water and going to check on some of the campsites or maintaining the hiking trail that we have. Out on one of the islands, one of the 10,000 islands. So that's the cool part. And then, like mentioned before, helping control the invasive species of trees and well, I'm only dealing with trees. You also got pythons that you won't see me dealing with at all. But but you know, you have the invasive species, the trees that we're handling right now. That's really been helpful too. Just try to juggle everything because, as stated before, I'm just active. You know, so sitting at a computer for 9 hours, I work 9 hours. Sitting at a computer for 9 hours is just not going to do anything for me. I'm going to, you know, lose it. So being able to go out and walk around and work outside has been the great thing about it. But transitioning, it was difficult at first, but eventually you're able to find stuff to do.
I think for me, my the transition not necessarily hard for me. Like Jeremiah, I also do like a lot of computer work, but sometimes because I work in public affairs and public outreach was my niche. I love going out to the different forests. I was always traveling. Like I said, I would, before the quarantine, I would travel to like the Osceola and then come back and then go to class because I was always in the forest, hiking in the forest, trying to highlight different documentaries to post on my social media, our social media accounts. Well, when the quarantine happened, that part of my work just stopped indefinitely. So that was really hard because, you know, while I was going out in the fields, I was learning about my national forest. I was learning about natural resources. I even went out and did an invasive species project myself. Jeremiah, you should have saw me. It was fun. It was, and that was me, like, that was very educational outreach, you know, networking experience for me that I loved doing. And I never thought I would be doing something like that. So when it stopped, I was kind of bummed, but you know, make the best of it. You know, I had to kind of like transition my work mostly, well, indefinitely social media, like updating my social media accounts on COVID-19, following our answering Facebook messages, answering phone calls, and it's been a bit of that transition has been a bit of a challenge for me. So, yeah.
Well, most of my work is on the computer, but I also did work outside as well. I do inspections and things like that. And a lot of my computer work I'm not able to do because I can't bring those certain files back to my apartment. So that's a challenge too. So I had to do work that's really just me having work at home. And it's a challenge because the work that I'm currently supposed to be doing is putting me behind. So I know, like, once I get back into the office, I have a lot to catch up on within a short time frame, and it's a lot. It's challenging because I just moved to California in September, so my apartment really wasn't set up to telework. So and this quarantine and this coronavirus coming out of nowhere, I had to make some accommodations and get a lot of things put together so I can be comfortable working from home.
All right. Yeah, and you guys, I must say, really all of y'all have handled the transition well. Because I know, like, I was really worried at first because I was like, wow, how are we going to move a lot of our interns positions to work from home? Because so many of y'all are like out in the field. And I'm just glad that we were able to get something set up, even if it wasn't like an ideal setup, because really nobody could have seen this coming. But yeah, you all, even though it's difficult, I just want to say that we are still really proud of you all for your handling of the situation, you know, still getting stuff done and even taking the time to do stuff like this podcast, even though y'all are still working. So yeah, y'all are doing good. Y'all are doing good. And just keep in mind, you know, when it gets stressful, you always have an ear from us if you ever need to talk or just want to vent about something or you need some advice. You know, you got me, Yero, Kennedy's always on the line. So yeah, we're here for you guys.
I guess the crazy thing is, and I don't know if everybody else feels this way, but I know for me, it's more, I have the issue, it's like nothing is going on, so I feel like there's nothing to talk about, you know? And if I go on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, everyone's talking about the same thing, and it's like, all right, man, you know, I don't want to talk about that either. So, you know, that's the difficult part that I'm also seeing is like when I'm interacting with some of my coworkers, it's like, what'd you do today? Nothing. What about you? Nothing. You know, and it's like, well, all right, talk to you later. You know, so I think that's the most challenging part. Not the transitioning, but how I communicate in my relationships with other people, and how I build relationships with new people is being more creative and trying to figure out, well, what else can we talk about? What else can we discuss and think about? So.
And let me ask y'all this. Have y'all found that y'all states, or at least the towns or cities that you're in, have started to open back up?
Well, Florida for sure, definitely. I don't know if y'all saw in the news, but this past weekend, Daytona Beach, I believe, was flooded.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. You drive around Tallahassee, and you see traffic and you see people out and about. People are starting to go to restaurants. Restaurants are starting to open back up. Beaches are starting to open back up. Some of the universities are thinking about opening back up as far as letting employees, not so much the students, open back up. So slowly, but you know, it's going in different phases. So
Gotcha.
I'm seeing that. I'm still staying home because, you know,
I'm with you.
I can't.
Like, I let everybody else go out first, and like, you know, y'all find out if it's really better. And then let us know.
Y'all come back and tell me how it is, and then maybe I'll go out, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
California is nowhere near opening back up. Nothing is open. No restaurants, no beauty supply stores, no nail shops. Only thing that's open is the grocery stores, and that's barely. Walmart with a long lines, and we have to wait with our masks. A lot of mechanics, a lot of like, it's like auto body shops and stuff. They're open, but they're open like to curbside assistance and things like that. So they're not really coming in contact with people. So yeah, California.
Are you guys still on curfew?
No, we were never on curfew.
Y'all were never on curfew?
Mm-mm.
You just could. Oh wow, we were on a curfew.
We just had to make sure we just had to make sure we wore masks and we stayed 6 feet apart. But no, California never got a curfew. But
now that we're opening back up, like grocery stores, for instance, I think Costco, you can't go in without a mask. They will not allow you to go in. It was one point when Walmart, I don't like how Walmart did it. They allowed a certain amount of people in at a time to shop, and the lines were like backing up, and I was just, that's not really smart. You should just, because then like they're standing in lines compacted, and virus can be spread that way. I didn't think that was I didn't really like that technique. But I shop at Costco and Publix, and those stores don't allow you to go in without a mask. You can't not go in without they will not let you in. And if you don't have one, Costco provides you with one. So I saw Costco handing it out.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I'm surprised they have stock.
Yep, one an older couple came. He didn't know, so it wasn't like he refused, because when they handed him the mask, he took it and he apologized. It was like, you can't come in, you can't shop in this store without a mask. So yeah,
that's a good policy that they have. But I thought I'd ask y'all that because I'd been seeing some videos online of some places where it's just like, it's like COVID never happened, and people just like out and about shopping, doing whatever, going to restaurants, you know, no mask, no gloves. And it's like, wow.
My mom stay out in Clayton County in College Park area, and she's telling me that they out there. They don't believe in, some people saying the corona not real, so they like they don't care. Some people saying it's the government's fault because he told them that they can't go back out, and they listen. So
well, that's how it is here. So like I said, nearest Walmart's 32 minutes or whatever. So in Naples, Florida, it's a mixture. You know, you have people who are taking it serious and people who are not. The stores have not loosened up their reins on anything. But like some people just not wearing masks. And the crazy part about Naples, I don't know the actual percentage of the demographic, but I'm safe to say almost like 60% of Naples is like 62 and older,
Mhm.
excuse me. And so you would think they would have good sense to try to protect themselves, but you know how folks are. So that some people are listening to it and wearing that mask, and some people are not. What doesn't help is that you have like Universal open up in
June
June.
5th.
Yeah, June
Are they
5th.
really?
Yeah,
Yes.
you have Disney World opening in July. They're going through phases. I mean, but look at the National Park Service. Like Everglades, they're trying to come up with a plan to open up, which I hope. I don't think it's smart at all. We don't know much about this, uh, and the numbers are constantly rising. So whatever. I'll digress.
Yeah, no, I'm with you though. And actually, I'm in Fulton County, Dajeanai, so I'm right near your mom, so I
Yeah.
know exactly what she's talking about. And my mom is a veterinarian, so she's essential. So basically, she's been out, or she's had to stay out even since before the lockdown began. So every now and then, I'll like ask her for a checkup on like how's it looking out there. Are people back out there without their masks? Oh, they are. Okay, I'm gonna stay in the house even longer. Um, but yeah, I just thought I'd ask y'all, because I know y'all are all in different locations. So I just wanted to see how the general public in different areas was reacting to it. And I'm glad to hear at least California is taking it seriously. Um, but yeah, at least y'all are staying safe. Y'all seem like y'all are in the know. Y'all know what to do. So I don't got to worry about y'all anyway. So, but yeah, sorry, I kind of went off on a COVID tangent, but I wanted to switch gears a little bit, and I actually wanted to talk to you guys about your transitions to your positions. So basically, how it was going from where you live to being like on a park site by yourself, or even if you are with a couple other interns there, like what's it like to be in a position where you're the only person of color, or you're like one of the few people of color, and you're just out there, like nobody really to talk to or relate to?
Well, with me, I'm only 21. I actually just turned 21 in November. And before I came out here to California, I was in North Carolina on in a job corps. And job corps program is not reality. It's so different from what people go through in real life. So, and I jumped from North Carolina all the way out to California, and a lot of people they say, "Oh, you're 21, you in California, you're not where most 21-year-olds would be, So they look at it as, a blessing, or I'm lucky, but it's a lot that comes with it. I'm 21, I'm young. I don't have no family from the West Coast. None of my family is over here. I don't have I'm the only one that's here. All of my other families in Georgia, on the East Coast. So that's a challenge for me as well. And I'm not the only intern that works in the office, but I am the only green and youth intern that works in the office, and I am the only intern that came from Job Corps. And for in the beginning, when I first got out here permanently, I was the only intern, and I did feel as though like some of the things was challenging because as interns we're not really looked at as like actual employees. There's limitations to interns, and we go through a lot. There's some things we can't say. There's some things we can say, and there's some things if we say there's consequences behind what we say. So a lot of things just be held in, and we just go with the flow because we don't want our internship messed up. I don't want my internship messed up, or I don't want to jeopardize the opportunity for someone else that's coming into my position. So that's one of the challenges that I face a lot with coming with transitioning into um, what I came into.
Thank you, Deja.
For me, the transition is, I feel like, I'm a little bit older than that. I'm 27. So when people look at me, for one, I don't look 27. I think working being like the youngest and also an intern in this field is a bit challenging, because like Dajeanai said, like, you're not really taken seriously. So you have to basically bend over backwards to, prove yourself, and show that you matter, and stuff like that. So I was fortunate enough to have a couple of mentors working with me, and they were able to witness some of the things that I went through as far as being an intern, and um, altercation, not necessarily altercation, but like something that I got in with one of my supervisors, where I was kind of publicly ridiculed for something that wasn't really my fault. And they were able to witness how, I was treated, and they applauded me for how I handled it. And then from then on, they pulled me aside and they said, if you ever need a mentor, you ever need somebody to talk to when you feel like, you're not treated a certain way because of this and because of that, then you could come back. You can come and talk to us. If you have to, step outside of it to take a walk around the building, then you do that. Make sure you call us. But you're at a age right now where your career is, really about to set off, because you're in grad school. You have things that you want to do for yourself. So I was really fortunate enough to have that. But it was a real challenge, because being 27, this isn't obviously not my first internship, and I actually went from having a career to, I have 5+ years of experience under my belt. The work that I do, I do it. I'm a hard worker. I'm very ambitious. I love being around people, outreach. I'm a people person. I'm a sweetheart. So, I kind of, one of the things that I always self reflecting to ask how I can better myself in my career, and how I can better myself and the things that I bring to the table, because how I want people to view me, so in being an African American woman, in an environment where there are, older women, older African American women, is also older Caucasian women. It's kind of like, I have to set that example for myself, and like Dajeanai said, for people who are going to later come into my position. So that transition, it was a different transition, because it was something that I never, had to go through, because I've worked with supervisors or coworkers who we didn't really get along, but we were old enough and we respected each other enough to be cordial. But for me to be publicly ridiculed in front of like a room full of people, that was something that was really, really, I was in a state of shock, because, I had to think, okay, so do I react professionally, or do I act like not, how Jayla acts when she around her homegirls and, her family. So that was like a really make or break moment for me. And it was also a learning moment, a learning point too, because, I'm pretty sure that's not going to be the first time that I have to go through something like that. So, and I was thankful to have people who not only witnessed it, but were able to come back and say, if you need, here's my number, call me. If you need something, if you need help, if you need advice, if you need somebody to vent to. So, I was really grateful for that.
Yeah. As for me, transitioning to this portion, or to this area, I kind of am used to it. Before I came here, I was at Minuteman National Historical Park in Concord, Massachusetts, and then before that, I was in school, of course. But regardless of where I went, I always established one fact about myself, which was I'm a very proud Black man, and I've made that clear wherever I am. Because one, from my experience at both parts, there's always been that issue of race, where, you know, they say, hey, are you okay? Or hey, you feel good? Or blah, blah. And I tell them, you know, if I have an issue, I'm going to come to you about it. And I expect it to be handled, you know, a certain way. And I don't want you to act as if I'm being over dramatic or I'm being overly sensitive. No, handle it the way it needs to be handled. But with that being said, transitioning and establishing that, hey, I'm a proud Black man and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be working for the National Park Service. It's been pretty cool. I have had issues, not with coworkers, but with outside people, whether it's like seeing the Confederate flags or, for example, when I was in Massachusetts, I was kicked at Chipotle or whatever, you know, so it has been those little stuff I'm dealing with. But in regards to my site and my supervisors and whoever, I mean, it's been great people, and understanding, yes, you just got out of school. Yes, you're trying to find out what you want to be, where you want to be in life. And yeah, you have to deal with overt racism. You know, I can help you wherever I can. I understand, or I can try to understand what you're going through if you need to talk. So, you know, that's kind of been my challenges in dealing with stuff.
And just to follow up on that, I wanted to ask, do you guys have any advice to either new interns who are going to be going into these positions or current interns who might have already had to deal with some of these challenges? Because I know it can be hard, especially for a person like me, to talk to an intern in that situation when I myself have never been in it. And I feel like really I've never been in like a position where I've been the only person of color. So yeah, I'd really just wanted to see if you guys had anything that you might recommend to an intern when they're dealing with a situation like that.
When I tell myself that I moved to California for a reason, and that was to better myself. I didn't move here because I wanted to impress my supervisor. I didn't move here because I wanted to just move here. You know, I moved here to make a better life for myself. So I would tell those other interns that's coming after me, or the ones that came before me, that no matter what nobody says, no matter what you think, no matter what nobody else think, that you got to think about yourself and what you want to do in life, and think about your future, and know that you're better, and know that you're a great person, and understand that there are going to be some people who don't think kindly of you, and there are going to be some people who not comfortable around you because of the color of your skin. So you just gotta remember that you're in the position for a reason, and you're gonna come out better and stronger than what you came into.
I think one piece of advice I would give someone is, do not overthink how you react. You know, your feelings, whatever, however you understand it, all of that is valid. So don't beat yourself up over how you react, but make sure once you analyze your reaction, try to find a constructive way to resolve, you know, whatever issue that is. So like I said, I was kicked and in Massachusetts, you know, and I didn't react the way people would have reacted, which was, in that instance, you know, causing a scene and, you know, flipping stuff over, whatever. I didn't react that way. But what I did do was I made sure that, one, I told my supervisor what was going on. And I made sure that, you know, if I was ever to encounter that man again, or if I was going to have that issue again, I would have a step-by-step plan in my head that I would think I would follow, which is, you know, one, you know, address it. And then two, if it's not resolved, you will try to call someone in to help, you know, for help, you know. So that's one thing that I would say. Don't beat yourself up over your reaction, and try to come up with a positive or helpful or constructive resolution.
The advice, those are good answers, but some of the advice that I would give, fellow interns, future interns, is to, know who you are, know what you bring to the table, and every opportunity that you are given to show that you are a hard worker, take it and run with it fast. Don't let anybody tell you that or imply or anything that you're not good enough because you're just the intern. Just work hard, remain true to yourself, remain professional, because always remember that there is somebody watching you. There are going to be people watching you that are rooting for you, rooting for your success, and rooting for your downfall. And any opportunity that you have to give those people that are rooting for your downfall to prove them wrong, take it, because they are watching you. So, like Jeremiah said, think before you react to certain situations, and when you react, make sure you react in a way that it's you're letting them know how you feel, letting them know that you're not going to take anything from anyone. So I would say just remain true to yourself, work hard, and remember people are watching you.
Thank you. That's really great advice. And it's really hard to, tell people how to prepare themselves for these situations, because, something could always happen. And, even with recent events that have just been repeatedly going on, it can be really hard to talk to somebody who's thinking about this internship about dealing with a situation like this. But I find that having these open dialogues and like talking about these incidents and talking about how people who have gone through it, like yourselves, handle it, really is one of the most important parts to, I guess, preparing yourself for what could potentially happen and making sure that if it does happen, you handle it as gracefully as you can. So I really appreciate that advice, not just for the interns, but even for myself. I'm still a young professional, and that's advice that I'm going to carry forward with myself as well. So thank you.
The thing about it is these issues that we're seeing every single day can happen anywhere. It could have happened while I was a student at Hampton, right? Or while Jayla was a student at FAM or wherever. It could have happened. They could happen anywhere. And I guess the thing is we have to know how to handle it if those happen. We're always reactive. How do we become proactive in handling those situations and addressing those issues? And so I think that's one thing that GYF could even take up is in their training for their future interns, how trainings on how to handle certain situations. Who do you call in a situation when you are the only Black person and you are being targeted? What do you do if you get encounter a police officer or whatever? Because that's just something that we have to know. We have to prepare for and learn. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be like that. I'm sure Jimmy doesn't have to do that, but we do. So, and if we could have all that stuff to reassure ourselves, I think it would be so much helpful. But then the other thing is, and I'm sorry if I'm taking up too much time, the other thing I just want to mention is that through my experiences, I've also realized that not all people who look like us are necessarily the enemy. And when I say that, I mean, not all of them know what they're doing or know what we're going through. That's been one thing I've learned about being in this small town. They don't know. Some people unfortunately, they just don't know. And those people who want to be educated, I do educate them. But those people who don't want to be educated, I fault them for not wanting to be educated. So like I have a lot of my coworkers here who have added me on Facebook and some townspeople who have added me on Facebook. And I've been posting everything from Breonna Taylor to Ahmaud Arbery to this brother that just passed yesterday. You know, I've been posting everything about them so they can know what is going on, so they won't be able to deny it. You know, so, and that's required me to be more sensitive to them and saying, all right, they are ignorant or they don't know what's going on, so let me teach them because they want to know what's going on. That doesn't mean you have to be a teacher to everybody, but someone who wants to learn, if you have the opportunity to teach them, take that opportunity.
To piggyback off of what Jeremiah said, there are some people who are not aware of what's going on or not aware of what we have to go through. And the reason why they're not aware is because they don't ever have to worry about going through it. You know, they don't have to worry about walking out the door and or being pulled over by the police, how the police are gonna treat them depending on the mood that they're in that day. They don't have to worry about that. They can't relate to that. They can't even begin to, even if they were educated, they couldn't even how we feel. You know, it's just something that they don't have that. You know, they have the luxury of or the privilege of being pulled over by the police. The police take the whatever normal regular police or, you know, somebody coming into their house and pointing a gun at them and shooting them where they pay their bills at. They have a luxury of the privilege of that never happening to them.
Mm-hmm.
And one point that I want to make in the workplace make is for our interns is when you are in a workplace, you never know the people of other race or anybody where those people lie in that category. If they are unaware of it, if they are aware of it, if, you know, you never know. So be mindful of how you act, what you say, and what you do. One thing that I learned early on working when I was fresh out of college, I worked for a nonprofit organization called United Way. And I was the youngest, and I was also the only Black one working in my department. And there was so much drama, so much he say, she say, they say. I stayed clear of all of it. And I was fortunate enough to have a supervisor that wouldn't allow me to be a part of anything that happened, because he told me, he said, you know, I have sons who are young professionals. And he was a middle-aged white man, but he was one of those white men, you know, that was aware or whatever. But he told me, he was like, you know, I have sons who I want them to be successful, and just like I want them to be successful, I want you to be successful. And the key thing of being successful is if you hear unnecessary drama in the workplace, stay clear of it. If it has nothing to do with you, stay clear of it. Even if it has something to do with you, as far as like something that happened in the meeting, you were in that meeting, say nothing negative about anyone. Don't say anything unless you're asked to say something. So for any interns that you guys may encounter, current interns, fellow interns coming into position, make sure they know that they never know where those people lie at in the workplace. So be mindful of what you say, how you say it, and how to act, and be mindful of how you act, because like I said, it goes all back to people are watching you. Whether you know it or not, they're watching you. Whether they're watching you because they're for you or watching because they're waiting for your downfall, they're watching. So just be mindful and aware of how you carry yourself.
And also, another thing is that a lot of people don't know that the government doesn't discriminate. And when I say they don't discriminate, is they can hire a racist white person, and we can't do anything about it. They can hire people that's a part of LGBTQ. We can't do anything about it. And we have to, what I want to tell the interns coming in and fellow interns, that if you are in that situation, or if you do hear that you can't talk about politics inside the office, or you can't talk about anything presidential or anything government related inside the office besides work, that prepare yourself that you are going to be around those certain people, because the government doesn't discriminate. And you have to understand that you're going to be around different type of people, and understand that there are going to be certain jobs that you have to do, and you're not going to be able to voice your concerns because that's their rules and their policies. And you got to remember that you came in there for yourself and not for them.
Yeah, thank you all. And I think, matter of fact, we just gonna put this whole podcast in that training video. Just be like, watch all of this, because there's so much good information here. And sorry, Yero, if we got a little bit off topic, but it's just been really helpful to have this dialogue, and really just learn from you guys through your experiences and pick up what tips you have from navigating the workplace. Because I've heard a lot of stories about people, getting caught up in business that they shouldn't have, not knowing that the rules don't apply the same way to them as they do to other people. And that's just such an important point to reinforce, is that you really do have to go in there every day at your best, make sure you get your work done, and then you get out, go home, and don't carry any drama with you. Because again, the rules do not apply the same way to you as they do to other people. So, Yero, before I keep going on, I see it's almost 6 o'clock. Did you have anything else you want to ask?
Not specifically. I'm happy with the context that each of our interns has given us. Dajeanai and Jayla, you guys have given a lot of very specific, very heartfelt messages that I think will carry and cross over to the audience. And Jeremiah offered his own personal experience of when he felt antagonized and what was best to do. And I feel like that's very appropriate advice. It's valuable across the board. It doesn't matter what color any intern is. This is information that we need to hear and speak on, because this is what our interns experience.
Got you. Oh yeah, so I did have one last question for you guys. It kind of touches on what we already talked about, but I did want to ask, were there any other nuances or just weird things that you weren't expecting when you went into your position that you felt like maybe new interns should know about, or things that they should expect?
I can say, just speaking based off of Everglades, if you're going to be working in the Everglades, make sure you have some great shoes for sure. Some outside shoes, and then some good water shoes.
Hiking boots, waterproof.
Yeah, that too. I don't have much hiking to do because like I said, I'm on the water side. So most of our land is 200,000 acres of just water. So what I've been using for sure when we're going on those kayaks were those Vibram shoes that you all gave us. Those work perfectly because at the bottom you have oyster shells, and those oysters collect so much bacteria. And if you get one of those oysters to cut the bottom of your feet, you open up the chances of getting flesh-eating bacteria. So if you're coming to the Everglades, make sure you have some good shoes at the bottom of it. But then just overall, make sure you just try to build a strong relationship with your supervisor. Regardless of if you like them or you like their points of view and stuff or whatever, try to have that open communication, either having bi-weekly meetings with them, just catching up, saying, hey, this is what I'm doing, or is there anything that you want me to improve on? Because that relationship just goes a long way. And like I said, whether or not you like them or not, it could still be an opportunity for them to give you a recommendation. Or they could say, hey, do you want to stay a little bit longer? And that puts the ball in your court. Do I want to deal with them some more, or do I want to look for somewhere else? Either way, you have an opportunity at your disposal. So those will be the advice that I give.
Some advice that I would give, like Jeremiah said, hiking gear, shoes especially, bug spray, because you gonna get attacked by some bugs. Let me tell you. But that, make sure you have that. And if you're not really familiar with the type of hiking gear to get, like for me, I wasn't aware. I asked some of my colleagues, and they recommended me some stores to go to where I could buy some at a good price, where they were still sturdy enough to go to the forest. And hiking gear, that too. Another thing is that I would say is this field is a field that, because I've encountered people who never thought that this would be a field, like working in the Forest Service or the National Park Service would be something that they would ever be a part of, like myself. So once you become a part of it, if you were to, fortunate enough to get an internship like this, be open to learning as much as you can while you can, because there is a lot to learn. And you may have your days, but at the end it's really worth it. And also there is room for moving up. This field is a field that there's so much you can do, so much to learn. And some of the places that this internship can take you, or working for the National Forest can take you, you get to visit some of the most beautiful places that the United States or wherever have to offer. Because, even in the state of Florida, I've encountered some of the most beautiful springs and the most craziest ticks all in one place. It's just but it's worth it. It's worth it. Like, and just so be willing to learn all you can while you can, and learn as much. If you working in public affairs, do something with an archaeologist or wildlife biologist, because you never know, you might want to switch fields, because they do a lot of work too, and it's worth it. So that would be my advice.
Gotcha. Thank you.
My advice would be that California is very hot. Very hot. And there are a lot of rattlesnakes. So, and most of the inspections or anywhere you go out here in California is deserted. Like, it's in a lot of tall grass and dry climate areas. So snakes be out and about. And I would advise you to bring hardware boots, steel toe boots that are long, and bring long pants that the snakes cannot get into, or the venom can't connect with your skin. And like Jayla said, communicate. Communication is always good. Communicate with your supervisor. Being that I am a part of public affairs, I have worked with the wildlife biologists, I have worked with archaeologists, and I have done a lot of different things. And just because you coming into, a lot of people think when they come into the Forest Service, I get the question asked a lot, oh, are you a firefighter? No. A lot of people think that's all the Forest Service is fighting fires. And no, and I tell them, no, I work with public affairs, and I do this, that, and the third. And my advice to people that's coming in, you don't just have to settle for one thing. Just because that's what your internship is for, you can go out and be with the wildlife biologists, you can be with archaeologists, you can go with the Hubotans, you can go and look at trees and bugs and a lot of other things. You don't just have to sit in front of a computer or go out and inspect campgrounds and cabins and things. It's okay to communicate and let your supervisor know that, hey, I want to try this, hey, I want to try that. So that's my advice to them.
I've also made it very clear. I made it very clear to them that I'm not going camping. That's alone. I'm not going camping on the 10,000 islands. I have no desire to. So don't ask me.
It depends on where you go camping in the national forest. I didn't go with my job, but I did went camping up in was it North Carolina during like in the Smokies, and I did like primitive camping. I stayed in the yurt, and it was cold, but it was beautiful. It was real beautiful. So
yeah,
I would not go camping in Florida though. It's too hot.
That's the thing. I'm telling guests. I'm telling guests about the snakes and the mosquitoes and the alligators that possibly end up on one of these campsites.
The ticks are no joke. Let me tell you, they're like, I watch a tick like now into a girl's skin, and I had to like pull it out. I have never in my life been attacked by ticks like that. Oh my gosh.
That's how I was in Minnesota. When I was in Minnesota, they told me about the Lyme disease that you can get from like deer ticks or whatever.
That's how it was.
Some ticks make you allergic to red meat. It's a tick that if it bites you, you can become allergic to red meat.
Yeah. That's the Lyme disease. That's the Lyme disease.
That's the Lyme disease one.
And everybody thought I was crazy, and they was like, how can you be a part of the Forest Service and not like the outside? And I'm sure.
But that day that it happened, I still had so much fun. I had so much fun, but until the ticks, we were running they were flying out of the trees because we were dusting them all off. We were running, and we were like, it was the worst. I was like, oh my gosh, never in my life had an experience like that, but I had fun because it was a beautiful spring.
Gotcha. Oh Lord. Well, I do not envy your tick situation because that sounds awful. And Jeremiah, I'm with you. As soon as you mentioned alligators, I was like, okay, yeah, I ain't never going down camping in Florida because I can't deal with it. But yeah, so I want to thank you guys again for being on part 2 of our podcast. I see that we're 7 minutes over time, so I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time. But unless, Eero, you had anything else you wanted to add, I just wanted to thank y'all for all the wonderful information that we got today. This was my favorite podcast so far. We might have to do a part 3. If y'all don't want to do it, that's fine. But I'm always down for talking to y'all again.
I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with it.
I explained to my supervisor, I said, yeah, we were just so good, man. And everyone was just like, oh, you need us back. And I was like, all right, fine.
We definitely did. Yeah.
Absolutely. This was awesome, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All righty, kind folks. I hope y'all take care and continue to stay safe out there.
You too. Y'all stay safe.